First species here is the Hart's tongue fern, Asplenium scolopendrium. The common name comes from the supposed resemblance to the tongue of a male red deer, a hart. The scientific name, the second part, scolopendrium, comes from a Greek word that means centipede or millipede, from the supposed resemblance of the spore-bearing structures on the underside of the leaf or frond. Ferns in this group are also called spleenworts. This is because it looks somewhat like the shape of a human spleen. The thought was that God had left a sign, a signature, in all plants which he had created for the use of man, and the purpose of this signature was to show what they could be used for. In this case, to cure diseases of the spleen. Ferns aren't flowering plants. Rather than having seeds, they have structures called spores with a rather complex life cycle. The structures that hold the spores are known as sori, and they're covered at first with a papery tissue called indusium. You can see it very clearly here. The disparity in the size of the two fronds or leaves here, both of them coming from the same species, shows how important space, light, nutrient, and supply of carbon dioxide are to plants. Despite being so stunted, the depauperate or mineral deficient frond is still able to reproduce. There are far fewer of the spores present, but it still has the full structure of the sori with the indusium cover. This extreme reduction in the size of the plants, even though they're the same species, can lead to great confusions for those who are starting in the identification of plants, both flowering and non-flowering. Sometimes the size difference is so great, it's hard to believe they are the same species. The broad buckler fern appears very different from the simple frond of the hart's tongue. It's commonly found in woodlands. The name buckler comes from the supposed resemblance between the cover, the indusium, which covers over the spore-bearing bodies on the underside of the frond, to a medieval buckler or shield. The second name, the Doraptus dilatata, the scientific name, the dilatata means to spread out, because the way it grows, with the fronds all surrounding it, and it's like a rosette. There are several close related species. One of the quick ways of telling them apart is by looking at the scales or ramenta that's found on the base of the stalk, that is the rachis as it's called, of the fern. These scales usually have a dark line down the middle, and that's a good identification characteristic. Sometimes the tip of the frond can appear twisted or folded. This is caused by an insect, by a fly, that lays its eggs inside the plant tissue and forces it to fold like this, protecting its eggs and its developing young. Examples here also show what extreme difference in the size of the fronds there can be if a plant is growing in a nutrient deficient situation.